The following presentation is an introduction to the Frequency Selective Transmit Power Monitor from Combilent TXRX. This small unit is installed in line between the output of the combiner or the transmit filter or duplexer if one is used, and the transmit antenna system at the base station rack. It continually monitors the status of the transmit antenna system without interfering with normal operation. It can be integrated into the combiner, transmit filter, or a system duplexer, or used as a standalone unit. It can be used to fine-tune the combiner while the system is live and monitors multiple characteristics at the site. The presentation that follows will take you through the functionality and software configuration of the power monitor. Included here are the features gained by adding the power monitor to any system. The Start Page display shows a connected transmit power monitor at IP address 192.168.212.61. Login is not required, and accessing the IP address automatically loads the viewer. The unit shown is not online, but is connected to an internal network. The Start Page shows a product picture with connections and the dashboard menus at the top of the screen to allow access to other monitoring. By selecting Combiner Status, the status page is displayed. The upper table shows 3 cavities enabled and their frequencies. No RF has been applied to this combiner. The lower sections of the screen allow configuration of the unit, including enable cavities, their frequencies, power calibration, setting limits for the antenna return loss warnings, and alarms. Field descriptions are available on the right side of the screen. We will return to the operation of the unit in a few minutes. The Network Configuration tab displays the menus to set up access parameters. Using the TCP/IP section, enter the IP address settings of the unit, the address for the SNTP server used to supply clock time, or manually set time if SNTP is not used. The timestamp is used for the event log of the unit. Be sure to check the box to enable the SNTP server. You may force a clock update or manually enter date and time parameters. After the network configuration is set up, select the SNNP Configuration tab. Here traps can be enabled and trap receivers defined. Settings which can be entered on this page include the system name, system contact information, and the system location. If a trap receiver is left with all zeros in the value field, it will not be enabled. As in all setup screens, be sure to submit new settings when they are made. The next setting to be entered are the syslog or system logging configuration. On this screen, the server IP address is entered and enabled. If the IP address has left all zeros or the syslog enable box is not checked, system logging will not be enabled. On this system event screen, the log is currently empty. The event log is a cyclic log capable of holding up to 100 entries. The log loads the latest event on the top of the display. The log is also available as a text file and can be downloaded using TFTP from the firmware upgrade page. Several options are available on the Firmware tab, including Firmware Upgrade. If a new firmware is released, it can be uploaded using TFTP, and then the device can be updated. Event logs can be downloaded from this page using TFTP. The Product Test Information screen would normally include test information or data from when the unit was set up at the factory, but is empty here. Factory test data such as insertion loss would be part of this file. We now return to the status page, which initially shows no power being measured by the transmit power monitor. The display shows the status as being online, but no power measurement is showing in the forward or reverse power columns. Once power is applied to transmit channel or cavity 2, it is displayed in the forward power column as 42.4 dBm with a green label for normal operation. In this mode, forward power, reflected power, and antenna return loss are measured one cavity at a time in a cycle for the enabled cavities 1, 2, and 3. Forward power is compared to calibrated power, and status is shown by color coding in the appropriate column. White, no power being applied. Green, forward power within 2 dB of calibrated power. Yellow, forward power within 3 dB of calibrated power. And red, forward power is more than 3 dB off calibration power. Transmit forward power has now dropped for cavity 2 and is showing an alarm status in red. Warnings and alarms are generated by comparing the actual forward power measurement to the calibrated power levels entered. When the transmit power being measured on cavity 2 is returned to the normal level, the reading corrects, the alarm clears, and the status reporting in the forward power column returns to green. The display now shows that transmit 2 power is switched off, and all columns and cavities are showing a white indication. A poor return loss load is connected to the antenna port of the combiner, and the power is then turned back on. With the mismatch load connected to the antenna port, a yellow return loss warning shows 10.4 dB of return loss. Be sure to notice that the forward power is green for normal, and the antenna return loss is a yellow warning. Warnings in yellow and alarms in red are displayed reference to absolute power levels set in the lower section of the combiner status page. By scrolling down to the lower section of the status page to the parameter configuration section, alarms and warnings are set up. Go to the Settings section, and the top 2 lines labeled Return Loss Warning Threshold and Return Loss Alarm Threshold. By using the drop-down list for the return loss warnings value and the return loss alarm settings, set the levels to those used for the system. The alarm threshold is currently set to 8 dB and the return loss warning threshold is set to 12 dB. By selecting the System Event Log tab, the screen now shows the antenna return loss warning with timestamp and return loss values. Returning to the combiner status screen, the page shows the forward power to be normal and the return loss of the antenna to still be in a warning state at 10.4 dB. Removing the bad load and connecting a good load to the output returns the system to normal, and the return loss warning clears, showing a white field and a return loss of 40.4 dB. Next, we need to enable channel 4. Scroll down to the lower section of the combiner status page. To enable monitoring of the channel, click the Enable checkbox for the channel or cavity 4 and enter the channel frequency of 463.2 MHz. Be sure to click the Change button to update the entry. Channel 4 now shows enabled on the main status screen, and as the screen updates, shows the calibration level of 43 dBm or 19.9 watts. With channel 2 turned off, power levels in the green status are removed. The transmitter is now moved to channel 4 and is turned on. Normal operation resumes on channel 4 and the green status indicator returns. If the power is lowered on channel 4 with the current calibration level, the channel will go into an alarm status as being under power. The status displayed will turn red as an alarm state. If we now want 39.1 dBm to be the new reference level, we need to recalibrate the channel. Scroll to the lower part of the screen and click on Calibrate for channel 4. The unit will use the current power level of 39.1 dBm as the new reference level, and the alarm clears. The system will continue to use 39.1 dBm as the new calibration level for channel 4 until the next change is made. Selecting the system event log shows return loss set and clear timestamps. It also shows the channel 4 set frequency and timestamp. On the firmware page, the event log listed is the log file having the same data as the system event log page. It can also be downloaded using TFTP. And finally, we return to the main status page under normal operation. Thank you for your time, and we hope this presentation has been beneficial. Please contact us for more information.